Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Super Breakdown. Today we're looking at the AMX-004 Qubeley, piloted by Haman Karn herself. I'm going to preface this by saying I don't like the way the Qubeleys play in this game, and I will explain why. But Haman's Qubeley, first off, basic shot, pretty decent damage, has a charge. Like most of the Jupiter and Neo Zeon suits, it does have auto reload, but the charge gives you a stronger shot, which is pretty nice. You have the funnels. You can fire them off. Unlike other funnels in other suits in this game, they will not fire when you fire. Instead, you have to hit the left trigger to fire them. You can also call your funnels back, which is pretty interesting. But what this means is that you have to use 2 button presses to do an attack. Now, granted, you can work that out. You can get used to doing it and figure it out, but you're trying to fire, you're trying to attack, and your funnels come back really quickly. I think if instead they stayed out until you fired them, it would be way better. Because you can be firing off funnels, and then they come back by the time you're set up to where you want to fire them. It leads to you kind of doing this little hop, skip, jump of firing them off and trying to make it work. And I missed with the burst there that I was going to show off to segue out of that. I was going to say the funnels do look really cool in the burst, though. It definitely works, and you can make it work. You can get used to it. But I don't think it's very fluid as compared to both versus and extreme versus, where the funnels just fire when you fire, or fire automatically after a time. I think that works a lot better, in my opinion. Haman does have some other cool things, though. You can summon in her strikers, and so you have one striker that will attack, and one striker that will defend. And that defending striker, which is Master Marcello himself, will take, like, deadly damage for you, which is really cool. It makes Haman very tanky, and means that you can have her out in the field for longer. They do eventually go away, but it works. It's very handy. Then, of course, you have the stun. It is kind of short range, but it's very effective. It's a full stun, and you have it reliably. When you burst, you get it back as well, which is really nice. As we go into the second round, we'll use our melee, and we'll ask and answer our simple question, as we always do. Should you use the Qubeley? If you're somebody who loves ranged and loves to be tricky with your enemies, then sure, go for it, you know? But if you're not, I don't know that this is a suit that you will absolutely love. The funnels are cool and can surprise people because they fly separately, you know? But I just don't love them myself. I think that the way that they're tied into her buttons is not wonderful. Because again, you can try and throw out 3 runs of them, and by the time you do, the first run is already coming back to you. But let's get into her melee. Forward melee is really cool and does some really decent damage. Back melee is the stun, as we talked about. Side melee looks really cool. And your standard melee, dashing melee. Your standard melee, if we get Judo to stop running. Standard melee is very cool looking as well. And like we talked about with the strikers, get them out there and one of them will just attack forward for you. They can be killed instantly though, so be careful like they were here. Because that's unfortunate, but very, very cool. I just don't love the way that the funnels work, and it kind of drains it for me, the enjoyment, because there are other funnel suits in the game that I think work way better. Okay. Get our burst off and show that. Nope, he knocked us out of it again. There we go. It's a cool looking burst. It really is. And then the funnels attack. It looks really nice. And again, the dedicated stun means that you're going to be stunning them. You're going to be getting the extra defense in because of her strikers. You're going to be fighting and doing a really good job of it, in my opinion. I just don't love the way the funnels work, personally. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And until next time, I've been Trey. This has been the Full Spectrum. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that the Qubeley has to offer.